Welcome to Fun with Annuities, where every single week I welcome a celebrity guest expert that can help you maximize Chapter 2 of your life. Listen, learn, laugh, and love every minute of the most unique financial podcast on the planet. Let's get to it. Welcome to Fun with Annuities. I'm your host, Stan the Annuity Man, America's annuity agent, licensed in all 50 states, as you know. This is somewhat of a annuity man alert. After the political conventions have been held and all the balloon drops and pomp and circumstance, and if you could stomach either party and all of those scripted messages, you're a better person than I am. As you know, and the reason you always turn in and to me and to listen to what I'm going to say is it's not scripted. This is coming out of my brain real time. As my grandfather always said, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Obviously, a lot of this is my opinion, but understand this before we jump in. Michael Jordan was a great basketball player. And as you know, I played basketball in college. And that's how I put myself through school. My dad was fixated on that. So that's what we did. That's what I did. But Michael Jordan, who played for the Chicago Bulls, if you don't know who that is, and if you don't know who that is, somebody that you've seen is wearing Air Jordan gear from Nike because it's $1 billion brand. But I always liked what he said. And he said, Republicans and Democrats buy shoes, and he's right. Same thing with annuities. Republicans and Democrats and liberals and conservatives and independents and whatever, Green Party, they all buy annuities because they all need guarantees. All right? So I'm not political at all. And you say, yeah, you are, Dan. I've heard you. I kind of can get a feel for where you're leaning. I'm not leaning anywhere, okay? I've been through it all. I've been doing this for 3 decades. I've been through Republican administrations. I've been through Democrat administrations. And to me, it's red plus blue equals green. And green is money. So we have to take the emotions out. We have to, wherever your confirmation bias lies, and you know what I'm talking about, regardless of where you lean, you will either go to the podcast or the television channel or the commentator that's going to tell you kind of what you want to hear and confirm what's in your brain. What I want you to do today with me is step back a second and realize that your vote is one vote and we all have to vote, and that goes without saying. But also understand, as I always say, think of the dumbest person you know, literally the dumbest, like they have no insight, whatever. Good person, you see them at the restaurant or whatever, you went to high school with them, college with them, but they're dumb as a box of hair. Their vote nullifies yours, okay? So, don't take yourself too seriously out there, player. Do your part, vote, do the best you can, get involved, etc. But when we're talking about annuities and Republicans and Democrat, the conventions and the upcoming election, which should be a doozy, right? You need to start thinking, if you haven't already, what you're going to do. Now, we can go down the gloom and doom holes of each party and each platform and each way that they lean, liberal versus conservative versus independent versus libertarian. I think that's a colossal waste of our time. But let's talk about annuities during these crazy times, okay? As you know, at The Annuity Man, and we're the top direct-to-consumer platform in the country, licensed in all 50 states. We only sell contractual guarantees. As a reminder, we don't do any hypotheticals, theoreticals, projections, unicorns chasing the butterflies. Mr. Jones, if you'd owned it 10 years ago, you got this. Crap. You're buying a policy, which is a contract, so we only focus on the contractual guarantees of that policy. Now, the question is, and I think regardless, and the answer, regardless of who wins, okay, we're going to go through some chaotic times. We're 35 trillion plus, however you want to in debt, however you want to calculate that, and then you got the other the mathematicians on the other side. Well, that's not counting the overall outstanding debts with Social Security. Trillions. We're trillion. There's that piper has to be paid eventually. It's amazing to me that neither party is really addressing the gorilla in the room, which is debt, which is we have to cut spending, like all of us do. When there's not enough money coming in to pay the bill, then we cut. We either make more money or we cut the bills. We cut back. Our government's not doing that. So both parties are not addressing that. They're not addressing, the entitlement, Social Security, Medicaid, the Department of Defense, the debt, servicing of the debt. So what do? Here's what I'm doing. And I know you're saying to yourself, Stan, but you don't even look retired. You look so vibrant. You're right. No, not. I'm in a daily battle and struggle with my A1C numbers. So, yeah, my doctor says the only number you need to focus on is 5. I'm like, 5? What's 5? He goes, that's what your A1C needs to be. Southerner, player, stop eating the peach cobbler. I'm like, okay. But what we need to do is look at, regardless of who wins, listen, you've lived through the last 16 years, 12 of them have been Democrat, 4 of them have been Republican. If you look back, you survive. We're going to survive regardless of who wins. I love these comments like, this is the end of democracy if they win. And then the other side would go, this is the end of democracy if they win. I'm like, I think we're pretty, I understand the arguments. You can email me if you want and go off, but we are resilient. Okay. We'll be fine. Anytime we go, extreme right or extreme left, somebody gets backhanded figuratively and possibly literally to let's go to the rational. I'm not going to call it the middle. Let's go rational. Which leads me to another point. I really should start the rational party. But that's a problem because R is Republican. But rational or pragmatic, the pragmatic party. And I would run for president and I would win because I would be pragmatic. I would never get involved in I'm better looking than that. I'm smart. He's a horrible person. I mean, come on now. I did one of these earlier and I had to update it now because I said, my prediction for 2024 is an old person's going to win. And that got shot down. Well, that's no pun intended. You know what I'm saying, though. I mean, now things are different, and I'm not going to mention their names. You know their names, okay? My only comment is there's a lot of smart people in the country, including myself. Can we not find somebody better? People say, why wouldn't a business person take the job? Because they'd have to take a pay cut and put up with stupid people. And entrepreneurs and ballers out here and players don't want to take a pay cut and they hate dealing with stupid people. Nod your head, please, because that would be my problem is you'd have, career politicians trying to have a conversation with me as Stan the Annuity Man, President of the United States. I'd be like, you're the dumbest person I know. Please stop talking. My IQ's being lowered as you talk. But with your money, Democrat, Republican, whoever wins, if you are going toward retirement, if you're going to what I call chapter 2, I don't like the word retirement, chapter 2 of your life, you've got to factor in that income floor. We've always talked about an income floor. For the people that's never heard that, income floor is the amount of money that's coming in to your bank account every single month, regardless of what's happening, who wins, parties in control, all that stuff. Okay. That's it. Period. The income floor is your bogey, and that's Social Security, which is the annuity you already own. All you haters out there already own one. Pension, another annuity if you're so fortunate to have one. RMD is kind of an annuity that all of us have to start taking, in our 70s. They keep changing the age on that, but that's a kind of an annuity because it's an annual payment that you have to take because the IRS is tapping you on the shoulder. Dividends from stocks, legacy type stocks, muni bond stuff, MIGA interest, the income floor. Regardless of the party, you've got to establish that income floor. You've got to have that in place if you can pull it off. Now, if you have enough money, you don't have to disrupt the principal. You can just peel off interest from that. Now, all of you out there just threw apples and oranges at the screen. Like, Dad, they're going to lower interest rates. Dad! Which I just said they're going to lower interest rates, Stan, in kind of a Southern yell. Okay, that's fine. Then you might not have enough money to just live off the interest, but I think a portion of that you can. And then the other portion, income floor, is remember, annuities were put on the planet to primarily solve for lifetime income. They solve for four primary things, in my opinion. The acronym is PILL: principal protection, income for life, legacy, and long-term care. Principal protection and income for life are probably the top two that people are looking at. Income for life with annuities is not just one product, it's four: single premium immediate annuities, deferred income annuities, qualified longevity annuity contracts, and income riders. And you can get those quotes on my site, theannuityman.com, 24/7, 365, with no one calling you, and we're quoting all carriers for the highest contractual guarantee. Remember, you own an annuity for what it will do, not what it might do. So regardless of who wins, you need the income floor. Regardless if you're a Democrat or Republican, Libertarian, whatever, or Green Party, you need an income floor. You need money hitting your bank account. That's apolitical, non-political, not political. Okay? Now, let's get a little bit more into, I guess the topics that make people cringe a little bit. Let's talk about inflation. The gorilla in the room, inflation. How do annuities address inflation? Well, remember, life insurance companies issue annuities, okay? So life insurance companies know when we're going to die. They have the big buildings for a reason, and they issue annuities for lifetime income, primarily priced and based on your life expectancy or life expectancies at the time you take the payment. Now, with some annuities, you can attach what's called a cost of living adjustment or an increase. With some index annuities, they'll be like, sir, every time the index increases, it increases your payment. And it sounds really good, but you know what else sounds good? Taking a pill and getting six-pack abs, which does not work. The point is, life insurance companies are for-profit businesses for now, okay? They're not giving that away. So in other words, if you want to increase your income stream, I don't care what anybody tells you. I don't care how good the steak was at the steak dinner seminar. I don't care the charts they show you. I don't care. You're talking. I'm talking to you. Stan the Annuity Man, America's annuity agent. I've forgotten more than agents know, okay? I've written 7 books on it, done thousands of videos. This is my life. I know it's sad, but this is my life. Life insurance companies don't give that away. All they do is severely and drastically, got your attention, severely and drastically lower the initial payment to make up for that increase when compared to the exact / same annuity without the increase. Let me give you kind of a number. Let's just say you need $2,000 a month, and you said, all right, standing in the math, run one with and without a cola. And I'm like, okay, not a Coca-Cola, but a cola, cost of living adjustment. Just for math, okay, it's different because of ages and life expectancy, but without a COLA, it might start at $2,000 a month. With a COLA, it might start at $1,300 a month. So it's math. And remember that annuities are all math. It's math. You're getting a contract. So figure out how long it's going to take for you to make up for that increase. And it might make you feel good, but it's not perfect. In other words, regardless of what anyone says, there's not an annuity type on the planet that solves for inflation. Are we clear? And as they said, and as Jack Nicholson said, crystal. Are we clear? Crystal. We're crystal clear. Well, I think that was Tom Cruise that said that, because Jack Nicholson looked at that. Are we clear, young man? Are we clear? And Cruise said, the movie is A Few Good Men. And Cruise said, crystal. So we're crystal clear on inflation with annuities. Don't believe the badging dinner seminar guy. Yeah, sir. This thing solves for inflation. In fact, you take all this income out, and at the end, you still got more money or the same. Bull crapola. Okay. I mean, as I always tell people, if it sounds too good to be true, it is every single time. But let's just say it's your brother-in-law that's selling you the annuity. Have him write down everything he says to the T and all the promises and good things, all the whistles and the bells and the shiny things. Okay. And then have him sign off on it saying that this is all true. And if it doesn't come true, I own it and responsible and liable for it. Keyword lie. Liable for it. They will not sign it. That pen will weigh 1,000 pounds. So, income floor, we have to establish that regardless of party. Inflation, regardless of party. Annuities do not address that. And really, there's no product that really addresses that except Social Security. And you say, Stan, wait a minute, why is that? The annuity that I own from the government, why is that? Why is that the best inflation annuity on the planet? It's because the government, as you know, unfortunately, is not a for-profit entity. They just vote the increase so they can get voters to vote for them. It's all about the vote. So they're not looking at, can we pay for it? Does it make sense? No, they're just voting it up because they need voters. Wait a minute, water break. By the way, this is water. It's not straight vodka. I would say, what was that? 18 years ago, could have been. So let's get to interest rates. Again, conspiracy theories. I saw the other day, Stan, where the job numbers would decrease. That's just a play. That's a play. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. All I know is since October 22, when interest rates went to 5 on MIGAs. By the way, MIGAs is multi-year guarantee annuities, which is the annuity industry version of a CD, which means if you say you hate all annuities and you own CDs, you're a hypocrite. But I digress. But MIGAs have had a good run, interest rates, etc. But most likely they're going to go down. And if you have a heart, they probably should go down. And the reason they should go, I mean, I feel for people trying to buy a house with 7% or 6%, I don't even know, mortgage rates. That's hard. But what happens, first of all, you can't time it. Okay. I mean, you can't time it. And, as a smart guy said once in the stock brokerage world I used to live in, hey, Stan, the bell doesn't ring at the top or the bottom, son. And I'm like, you're right. It doesn't. So if you feel like they're going to go down long term, you might want to lock in those rates now. But nobody can time it. Period. It's all going to change. It's all going to fluctuate. It's all manipulated. Do you really trust the Fed? I mean, I want to, but I don't know. It's so interest rates, regardless of the party, guess what? You can't control them. They're going to go down, in my opinion. I hope I'm wrong. I just don't know by how much. But remember that interest rates and the debt of the country, they correlate. You say, Stan, that you're talking gibberish now, son. I know you didn't get that good of a degree when you played college basketball. Explain it. Well, and you know this, if you think about it, that debt we talked about early in the podcast, that $35 trillion. Remember that? Yeah. And it's even more real if you factor in everything else. Well, they have to service that debt at current interest rates. Yes. So if I'm the government, and I should be, and if I mean, I want interest rates lower. Now they can play the inflation and we're trying to get it at 2%, all that stuff, all that nonsense. I love, I love just the pundits pontificating on this, and the CNBC and the Fox business, which I've been on, of course, as the annuity expert and America's annuity agent. But everybody trying to throw a dart and try to nail Jello to the wall. Nobody really knows. So what does that mean? Republican and Democrat, for when it comes to interest rates, we all kind of know, regardless of who wins, rates are probably going to go down. They're probably going to go down before the election. You're at the time of this taping, you're going to see it before the election. They're going to try to lower interest rates. Every party does. If I'm not mistaken, I think Trump did before his reelection. I mean, every party does. Don't get caught up in that. I really wish that, and I'm not some sappy feel good, let's hug everybody. I want to hug them. I want to hug them. I want to know them. No, that's not me. But I really wish the tribalness would kind of go away, because I always say this. Let's just say you, let's just say you're on the left and you're standing beside someone that's on the right politically, and you're standing side by side, and you're standing in the middle of a city, name a city. And the person beside you, somebody comes up, hits them or attacks them or what, tries to steal. What are you going to do? Are you going to stand there because they're on the other party and just let them get mugged or killed? No, we're Americans. We're going to stand up. It's the same thing as people in the military. You got people side by side, different political views, different places where they grew up, different ideas. They're going to fight for each other. At the end of the day, we've forgotten that somehow. I think when the rubber meets the road and there's something really chaotic, we revert to that because that's our instinct as Americans. That's who we are. That's who we are. Listen, the person I hate the most on the planet, if they're standing beside me, I don't know who that is. I got to think real quick. Non-family. Okay. Non-extended family. I'm going to defend that person. I'm going to fight to the death. And if it's family, that's a whole nother, flag in the ground, right? Now, I'm not getting political, but I'm just saying, let's approach money, let's approach annuities with the parties and the conventions and the ads and all that stuff to the side. Because you got work to do. You got money, you got retirement, you got family, you got legacy, you got things that you have to take care of. Nod your head. That's irrelevant to a party. When I go in to see my CPA and my estate planning lawyers, we don't talk politics. Now they'll say, well, because this person's they've changed this law. Okay, great. Let's make a plan around that. But that's the best we can do. Getting mad about it is not raising your cortisol levels, is not going to raise annuity rates. Okay. It's just not. So I want you to go into these elections, and this isn't the last election ever. Man, if the other side wins, is over. No, it's not over. You know what else is not over? Your money. It's not over. It's not going to go away. It's not going to go poof. They're not going to come get it. As much as you care about your money, okay, I want you to think about all the other mega rich people. They care about their money too. And the people just like you at your net worth, they care about their money too. Okay. Yes, they can tax the rich up to a point, but there's not many of the rich. I mean, you can't do that up to a point. And rich people are rich for a reason. Okay. They're rich for a reason because they figure things out and they adapt and they learn and they do research and they plan and they have strategies. That's why you're watching this. You understand what's some insight here. So let's get to that. Let's get to, forget the parties again, because I'm standing annuity man, Republicans and Democrats and libertarians and Green Party people buy tennis shoes. They also buy annuities. And I really am apolitical, but let's just say taxes are raised. And if we're honest with each other, please, at the debt levels that we're at, something's got to give, right? And with the House and the Senate, they love raising taxes. They love it. And remember that, over 50% of the taxes are paid by the 1% anyway. Okay. If that offends you, it's called fact. It is what it is. But let's just say, hypothetically, that whoever's elected comes in and says, you know what, we've got to raise taxes. We've got to raise taxes on you rich, evil people that sacrifice and work 7 days a week. It's not fair. We're going to tax you because we need to. And oh, by the way, that's where the money is. Okay. What are you going to do? All right. Well, with annuities, this doesn't make them good or bad. Okay. But this is a reality. If you said, you know what, I just want to protect the principal and not pay interest, and I have non-IRA type funds, then you can buy a MIGA or an index annuity. In my opinion, you got to look at both. MIGAs typically outperform index annuities in the short term. Index annuities are very complicated. We'll get to that down the road in another podcast, but we have nothing against them. I just am about contractual guarantees. But let's just say you have non-IRA money and you go, you know what, I really don't want to pay taxes. I want to have a little lever that when I need money, I can bring it out. And if they're going to be taxing me at crazy rates, I can shut it off.
That's a MIGA. Now, not all MIGAs allow you to take interest out, but a lot do. And what you can do is say, okay, I'm going to let it grow tax deferred, which is the annuity industry. That's the difference between, let's say, a CD and a MIGA. CD and a non-IRA, non-qualified account, you have to pay taxes on the interest every year. Okay. And in MIGAs, you can defer it, tax deferred. Yes, you have to pay taxes down the road, but one thing you can do is shut it on and off if taxes rates get too high. Think about that for a second. Or you might, I don't sell these, but I used to when I was at Morgan Stanley and UBS and Payne Webber and Dean Witter. That's how you say it in the South. Municipal bonds. Now the rates might be low, whatever, but it's tax free. Okay. People that are smart, that have planned, that manage their money or have someone manage their money, always thinking about, okay, what's if this is the action, what's my reaction? Legal reaction, of course. Everything's, what can I do? One of the great things about MIGAs or deferred annuities is you're deferring the taxes. Now you got the conspiracy theorists out there go, but wait a minute, Stan. What if they change those rules on the life insurance companies that issue annuities, that those annuities aren't tax deferred anymore? You can't defer them. My answer to that is if that happens, boy, we're in trouble. But let me give you a better answer. People always think and always say, well, the NRA is the toughest lobby up there. The biggest, baddest, swinging the biggest stick lobby on the planet is the life insurance lobby. Those are the baddest dudes on the planet. That tax deferral thing's not going away at all. It's not going away. Now, that's a non-qualified type strategy. In your IRA, you got to take money out eventually in your 70s. I say that because people are going to be watching this down the road and they always change the rules. The rules. You got to deal with your CPA anyway. But annuities inside of a qualified account, IRA, 401k, whatever, if your 401k offers it. I mean, all money coming out of that is taxed at ordinary income levels. It is what it is. But let me give you another non-qualified thought. If you said, you know what, Stan, I need income, lifetime income for me or me and the spouse, if you want to set it up joint, to build up my income floor, and I have non-qualified money. Well, let's just say you need the income now. And I always ask people two questions. What do you want the money to contractually do? And when do you want those contractual guarantees to start? And then from those two answers, we can determine A, if you even need an annuity, and we'll tell you straight if you don't. And then B, what type of annuity will provide the highest contractual guarantee. But let's go back. Let's just say you said, Stan, me and the spouse need $2,000 a month. Okay. And we need it to start as soon as possible. And as soon as you can get that income to start with, say, an immediate annuity, is 30 days from the policy being issued. Now, with non-qualified money, there's what's called the exclusion ratio. That's as complicated as I'm going to get. I'm going to explain that. Okay. All lifetime income, whether it's come from an immediate annuity, deferred income annuity, qualified longevity annuity contract, and an income rider, which are the four types of annuities for lifetime income, regardless of that income is a return of principal plus interest. You say, wait a minute, huh? That's not what I heard the chicken dinner seminar. I understand this is the truth. So that's the reason you're watching and listening. It's a combination of return of principal plus interest. And if you draw the account down to zero, which means that you've outlived your life expectancy, and the count's at zero, the annuity company's still on the hook to pay as long as you're breathing on a ventilator. And that's the transfer of risk value proposition of a lifetime income stream with annuities. Okay. So there's no ROI until you die. Don't try to compare it to mutual funds. I hear pundits on radio and podcasts saying, well, the return on investment on stocks and mutual funds are so much better than annuity. Give me a break. You talk about apples and oranges. That's as misleading as we'll get to that. I've got a policy thing I want to talk about, which is crazy. Okay. But going back to the non-qualified, and you're wanting lifetime income, it's a combination of return of principal plus interest. Hang in there with me. The return of principal part is not taxable. Only the interest part is taxable. So it's tax favorable, air quotes, tax favorable for you to get lifetime income from that because you're getting a return of principal plus interest. So the vast majority of that money is not that you're getting as income monthly is not taxable. Now, when it becomes taxable is when you have depleted it down to zero, outlived your life expectancy. Now you're fully in the life insurance company who issued the annuities pockets. At that point in time, when it's at zero, then you're going to pay taxes on the full amount. But up until that point, it's a combination return of principal plus interest. So that's another way to get that lifetime income, to get that income floor in place and not beat the tax man, but kind of swerve around them. Okay. And we're never going to beat the tax man, but we can swerve around them. Remember, you don't know this. I'm just going to tell you the fact. Then you can remember it. Variable annuities, and we don't sell those because we don't sell anything that goes down. But they were put on the planet in 1954, 1955, whoever you're arguing with, by TIAA, used to be called TIAA CREF. They were put on the planet for tax deferred growth. Okay, tax deferred growth. That's how long this tax deferral thing has been around in the life insurance business. But when you talk about lifetime income or income in general, you can buy the immediate annuity that starts immediately, a deferred income annuity, which is an immediate annuity that it's an immediate annuity that defers past a year. And both of those are that combination of return of principal plus interest and a non-IRA, non-qualified account. That's tax preferable type income. And remember where I started with this, multi-year guarantee annuities, which is the annuity industry version of a CD. Okay. That's an interesting strategy because you literally can flip that on and off like a light switch. You can say, okay, send me the income stream. And then they raise taxes. You go, okay, stop it. Let's just let it defer and let it roll. Now, I've got a great staff. Our home office is in Las Vegas, Nevada. And someone said the other day, they go, wait a minute. You do no risk. You transfer the risk. You're all about contractual guarantees, but your main office is in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm like, yeah, I'm a contrarian. And plus, I love the food there. I don't gamble. You know, I don't drink. I've been married 36 years. So I just like the food. I like the energy. I always tell people Vegas is kind of an interesting place because everybody that goes there wants to be there. Okay. So everyone's kind of happy, whether they're masking it or whatever, they're kind of happy. Now, I'm going to get political just briefly. Okay. And I'm going to get political without mentioning names. And I'm just going to bring up one thing I heard recently, because if you hung around me, which would be cool, because my life is just, it's glamorous. I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I will read news for a 15-minute time period in the morning, and I can get pretty much all I need. But I read something the other day, which I do have to weigh in. I don't care I'm not going to sit here and go, well, this party's crazy. But what I'm going to talk about is politicians that either have never run a business, have never met a payroll, don't understand business, don't understand economics, basic economics. I heard a great line the other day. This guy said, the book that's never been picked up in Washington is Economics 101. I mean, a lot of the stuff, again, going back to my pragmatic party, this is just pragmatic stuff. So the one that I read the other day that really flipped me out, and there's just no way this goes through, because somebody, all of us, is going to go, huh? No. Unrealized capital gains. Okay. This is great. Okay. And listen, a Republican might have put it out there or a Democrat might have put it out there. It doesn't matter to me, but you and I both know that somebody on both sides would be like, yeah, that's a good idea. We can get some more money in here to give it away. Both parties have spent like drunken sailors, and I love drunken sailors. I used to be a drunk non-sailor 18 years ago. But unrealized capital gains. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, stop. Let me give you some examples if you haven't run that through your head. And I'm assuming my listeners have run that and gone, what? Or as Scooby-Doo would go, huh? Oh? You have a house. It's worth the way I understand what's been proposed, it's worth $200,000. Okay. It's now appraised. I don't know who's going to be appraising it. It's now worth $400,000, which theoretically, you have an unrealized capital gain of $200,000. Under this proposal, and I don't know where they pulled the percentage. I'm sure some quant action, some person in a closet ran the math and go, listen, if we raise money, oh, this would be a great way to raise money. But on that $200,000 gain, you owe 25% taxes on that $200,000 gain. Now, if it goes down in value, they don't give you a refund, and it is what it is, and you haven't sold it, so you haven't realized it. It's just what they call unrealized. You could run the same thing on a stock. Let's just say, you bought Apple at 5 and now it's 100. Just whatever. Don't email me and say it's more than 100 with all the splits. You know what I'm saying? That gain, they're going to want 25%. It would ruin the country, period. Okay. Give you an example. Well, one of the places I haunt is Florida. Florida and Vegas are kind of run back and forth and back and forth. If you see the correlation, and I stop off in Nashville sometimes, all three of those have no state taxes. Have you noticed that little correlation there? Think about it. Florida, a long time ago, I don't know when that was, some genius tool in Tallahassee, the capital, said, you know what? These rich people with all these yachts they're running, this is not fair to the common man. And we're going to tax these new yachts that they're buying. We're going to tax them. And look at the revenue stream that we're going to create for the government by taxing these new yachts. If you're familiar with history, what happened is rich people, air quotes, however you define that, rich people stopped buying new yachts. They bought used yachts. So new yacht sales plummeted, used yacht sales went through the roof. And what's that an example of? That's an example of people that plan like you and like me are going to look at what's being proposed, the action, and we're going to react because we're smart. Okay. It is what it is. So the other, I don't want, and again, these are just common sense things, but what I want you to do is frame the election so you're not raising your cortisol and stressing about it. And, whatever party, by the way, whoever wins, the other side's going to say that party cheated. I can prove it. Both parties are going to say that. Just go with me on that. Okay. But what I want you to do is forget about all that. I want you to focus on your money, and I want you to put plans in place similar to if a hurricane's coming into Florida. We don't just sit here and go, man, that's a big eye of a storm right there. That's going to be a heck of a deal. No, we prepare. We either board up or we leave or whatever, or we call the insurance company, make sure everything's good. What you need to do is board up, in essence, with your money. You need to think about what you're going to do. Does that mean you buy annuities? Maybe, maybe not. Annuities aren't for everybody. You might have too many already. You might have too much. You might not need the strategy and the contractual guaranteed transfer risk strategy that it solves for. You might not need that. But what I'm encouraging you to do is get rid of the politics. Yes, you're going to vote one way or the other and you're passionate about it. Great. But this is about your money. This is about your family. This is about your legacy, which is leaving money to the kids. And with annuities, you can do that either lump sum or you can lovingly handcuff them with payments, which I do. But I want you to take the emotion out because, as you know, with money, whether you're in the stock market, bond market, annuity market, it should be a non-emotional decision. It should be a fact-based decision. That's the reason there's such a proliferation of quant AI type management is because allegedly there's no emotion in there. We got to take the emotion out. We got to stop listening so much to, I guess, the pundits. I've stopped doing that a long time ago. I call it a redneck vacation. I can say that because I'm from North Carolina. Redneck vacation means that you don't have enough money to go on vacation. So what you do is you just shut off your TV and your radio and internet. And that's a redneck vacation. And if you haven't ever taken a redneck vacation before, it's very effective on the brain. I mean, it's similar to, remember I told you earlier that my doctors are like, you need to focus. Your bogey is the number 5, Stan. What's number 5? That's your A1C number that they want it below. And I'm not sure any Southerner can get to 5, but without just, totally fasting and withering away to nothing. But I want you to think about what goes into your brain that you see. And I listen, I thank you so much for tuning this in, and I'm hoping this is informative. it's been fun and you're waking up a little bit and go, hey, that kind of makes sense. I'll think about that, or I'm not going to think about that, or he's crazy. But think about what goes into your brain, whether it's the news or podcasts or things like that. Be careful what goes into your brain, just like we're careful with what goes into our mouth with food. Being a person that's focused on the A1C number, and you know what that is if you are those people, that's what they call in the South the sugars. My grandma's like, his sugars are high. What? You know what I'm saying? That means he's either pre-diabetic or diabetic, which is sugars. Well, in the South, we lead with dessert. What's with my mom, who goes to all these bad chicken dinner seminars in Florida? She lives close to me. She'll call and ask what's for dessert. I appreciate all the agents that are feeding her 4 times a week in the state of Florida. That's fantastic. But I think that we need to filter as a country what comes in our mouth, what goes in our brain, and then take all the emotion out and the cortisol out and focus on the money side without that emotion, knowing that in a plan for both, either Republican or Democrat winning, I'll leave you with this, and I want you to think about this. If you've done your research on mega rich people, mega rich, and there's asterisks and there's people that don't conform to this, but the vast majority of mega rich donate some to each party. And you say, well, really? Yeah. I mean, the Republican nominee, I mean, they catch him all the time. Well, he gave money to this Democrat. Of course he did. He's a businessman. That's what they do. And mega rich people give to both parties. They're hedging their bet. What I'm asking you to do is take the politics out. One side's going to win. I can guarantee you one thing. One side is going to win. They're going to win. Now, you might not agree with the win, or you might agree, but one side's going to win. Prepare for both sides to win and what you're going to do. And the interesting part about that comment is it's probably going to be similar. I mean, there's around the edges, there's going to be some changes, but with your money, interest rates, things available, stock market, annuity offerings, okay, that's going to remain pretty constant. So what the edges are: tax law, estate planning law, those type of things like that. And you got to go to see those guys anyway, and ladies anyway, for that type of expertise. But what I'm excited about going into November, at the time of this taping, it's a little bit out before election day, is hopefully, regardless of the outcome, there's a little less animosity and anger toward the other side. And then secondly is us, the annuity man, working with our clients to make sure that we're talking not about politics, not about a candidate, not about a platform, not about a convention, not about a negative ad, not about a debate, not about any of that. We're talking about the realities of contractual guarantees, the realities of what annuities can provide, which is principal protection, income for life, legacy, long-term care, PILL's acronym, and seeing if that works for you and preparing for the worst and then enjoying the fruits of what's better than that. You got to prepare. And I think you should be preparing now. That's the reason I stepped in from my, I would love to say from my, Learjet that was flying around the world. No, I just felt, after all of the conventions were done, that it's time for me to talk about this. And I've talked about to my staff and the people that you'll talk to on the phone, and my managing director and the assistant managing director. And I've talked to all of them. This is important. This is important for our clients. This is important for our future clients. This is important for people that just watch us for insight, to start the planning now with the understanding that either side can win. It's going to be a close one. I don't care what anybody says. It is going to be close. Might not be on the electrical. I'm against that electrical college, son. Too many voltages going on out there. No, electoral college. It could be large in that, but from the standpoint of votes, it's going to be close. We're a 50-50 country at this point in time. But I'll say this: we're a 50-50 country, but we're 100% when it comes to sticking together during chaos. Remember 9/11? I didn't see too many. Hey, you're a Democrat, I'm not going to help you. Hey, you're a Republican, I'm not going to help you. something in your city that happens, you're going to help. That's who we are. You know, if I ran for president, boy, wouldn't that be a hoot? I I don't see the need for negative ads or putting someone down. I understand the consultants and all these people that say that's what works. I'm dying for someone to say, I'm not going to talk negative about anybody because that person on the other side is either a wife or a husband, has either a wife or a husband, has kids, has family, is a person, okay, is a person. And if they were being attacked, I would, I would defend them. I really wish it'd be issues based and also pragmatic. If they win, this is what I think is going to happen. If they win, if I win, this is what's going to happen, and leave it at that. And leave it at that. I know I'm dreaming, and I also know that a lot of people out there are so struggling that they're voting with their pocketbook and they're voting with fear, and that's sad. I don't know how to fix it. Nobody does. But, when it comes to us and us talking like this, it's just a fact of life. I think I read a stat the other day that 60% of Americans, adults, have their net worth in their right front pocket. In other words, they have $400 to $1,000 to their name. I think the other stat that blew me away is what's called the non-banked. A good friend of mine who's a consultant, very smart guy. He and I were talking about this. The non-banked, which means that people, like, I think it's 40 or 50%. It's a number that would stun you. Don't have checking accounts at a bank. And one of the things about the COVID relief, it never got to those people because they didn't know they didn't have where to send the money. They didn't, I mean, they couldn't send it anywhere. And a lot of these people are, unfortunately, bless their hearts, bank at these big, huge gas stations and do money orders there or pay cash. I was in one of my apartments is in a non-tax state, but I was hooking up cable, etc. And I went into their office. I was blown away by how many people were paying their cable bill with cash. Why? They didn't have a checking account. The unbanked. Why am I telling you this? Unbanked, 60% of the people out there, adults with, their net worth in their front pocket. I think 60% of seniors or more have $15,000 total, So I always tell people, be careful who you flip off on the road. Okay. Because if you flip somebody off that has nothing to lose, you might be in trouble. Have compassion for them, have a heart for them. But that's where we are in politics. That's the pragmatic outlook that I have for the upcoming election. Somebody's going to win. You got to prepare for each of them to win. And what you're going to be surprised about is, regardless of who wins, your money decisions will be very, very similar regardless. It might not be, but let's just say it's not, then you're preparing for that, right? You're preparing for non-qualified SPIA, single premium immediate annuity income, so that only a portion of that is taxed. You're preparing for, if there's a high tax rate, you're preparing for MIGAs where you can take out interest when needed and let it roll tax deferred until you get your preferred candidate back in office or party back in office. There are things to do that you can do. And that's why when they talk about the evil rich, I grew up in, rural North Carolina, where in rural North Carolina, to me, is like you drive down the road and there's a guy on the side of the road with like a cooker, and he's cooking barbecue sandwiches, and you could have gone over there and bought one for $1. It's the best barbecue sandwich in the world. Why was he doing that? He's doing that to make a little bit more money. Okay. But what I want you to do is just prepare, take the emotion out. And if you want to schedule a call with us, please do. Please do. You're going to find that experience unlike anything you've ever experienced in a quote unquote, air quote, sales world. We are the place where annuities are bought, not sold. You purchase them on your terms. You purchase them on your time frame. You purchase them without pressure. You purchase them without all the normal, no offense, car salesman, typical car salesman approach where they follow you around the lot. We're not going to do that. We respect you. This is a decision. You're buying a contract. We're going to quote all carriers for the highest contractual guarantee, and then we're going to leave you alone to make the decision whether that makes sense for you or not. And that's the way the annuity industry is getting ready to go. and I'm dragging the whole industry across the finish line with me to get there. We will get there. We are getting there. People like that approach. And, go to my site. We got 1,000 videos plus, and I keep doing these things. I've written 7 books. You can get them all for free. You can get a hat for free. I think they've reordered. Someone sent me a text the other day, said, I ain't got my hat yet. I'm like, okay, let me check on the order. But we're having fun. Okay. We're having fun with this. We're having fun and we're enjoying helping people place contractual guarantees within their portfolio that make sense. Remember, if you want market growth, I don't care what anybody tells you, don't buy an annuity. And with that, let's all think about Stan the Annuity Man 2028, the pragmatic party, PP, P squared, PP, that's not good, P squared, the pragmatic party. Boy, wouldn't that be fun? If you got me on a debate stage, I'd dominate. You know that. Wouldn't it be fun though? It would be great. But I'm not going to do that because I'd have to take a pay cut and deal with stupid people, as I mentioned before. Listen, so glad you tuned in. Hope this helped. Touch base if you want to. I wish you the best. Godspeed. Vote, but don't get emotional about it. My name is Stan the Annuity Man. This is Fun with Annuities. I'll see you next time.